Sorry, but Sergey, you have your microphone muted.
Sorry for that. Okay, I will start since the beginning. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this new webinar about the XPEAK, our new intercom solution. Okay, so today is going to be quite interesting. It's our latest release. Okay, and we will go through it and through all the features and the novelties of this new system. So for those who don't know me, my name is Sergey Alexeyev. I'm area sales manager here in AEQ. I'm in charge of Eastern Europe, Africa, Middle East in AEQ. I'm not going to be the only one speaking today. Roberto Tejero is going to be with us. Roberto Tejero, product manager. He's has huge experience in intercom. He's also a trainer, and he's also trainer of Dante Network Solutions. So, and it's a pleasure to be with him. I've been working with him in several projects, especially in intercom projects. So I know him really good, and he's going to be really helpful in this webinar. Hello, Roberto. How are you doing?
Hello, Sergey, and well, good morning and good evening to everyone. How are you?
Fine. Let us know which are the topics of today's webinar.
Well, but we are going to talk about the new AEQ system, the XPEAK intercom system, and is an intercom system without matrix, but the behavior is like this, a system with matrix. And in the other hand, we have that it's very easy to add new panels, both in local or in remote locations.
That sounds really interesting. If I understood correctly, you just mentioned an intercom system, but without the matrix.
Yes, it's a system without matrix, but the behavior, it's like a system with matrix, because we can communicate point to point among the different panels.
Okay, sounds really good. Sounds nice. I'm really looking forward to take a look on that in the entire system also. Okay, so before we get started, as you know, in all our webinars here in AEQ, as you know, we will organize a Q&A session before after the end of the webinar, after we go through all the topics. So you are very welcome to place all your questions from now on until the end of the webinar, even including the Q&A session. You will be able to place your questions. We will try, as usual, to answer all of them, but if we don't have enough time, okay, probably we will address you the answer by email, so as we do usually. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have to leave the webinar before the end or when it ends, you will go through a survey. Okay, so it's going to be 2-3 questions, not more, 30 seconds of your time, but it's going to be really useful for us if you can answer them, because it helps us to make the content better, to make the presentations more interesting. So just to deliver better content for you, okay, and making your time and our time more useful. Okay. So what we're gonna speak about today. So if we go through the topics of this webinar, first we're gonna go quite briefly. I'm gonna speak. Me personally, I'm gonna speak about AEQ, about our company, what we do, and where we do it. After that, we will go through the XPEAK system elements, the items that are part of this new system, the hardware devices and software devices also. You're going to see with Roberto main features of each device. Okay. After that, we will jump into the installation and configuration. This one is a really interesting part. After that, we will talk about all the XPEAK advantages. Okay, this is also going to be really interesting and useful for you. After that, we will go into the multiple scenarios that of usage for this new system, and I will tell you that it's not only for broadcast environment. Okay, so you have much more scenarios that you can use the XPEAK solution. Okay, this one is going to be also really interesting. And after that, we will go through the configuration and software review, okay? And in the end, as usual, Q&A session. Okay, so let's jump into the first topic, okay, as I promised quite briefly. So AEQ, for those who don't know AEQ has been manufacturing audio and video solutions for TV and radio studio since almost 40 years. Okay, we are based here in Madrid, in Leganés, okay, in south of Madrid. And the most important is to understand that everything, every single item in our portfolio is made here. So since the beginning until the end, we made the R+D, all the development of the equipment. We manufacture it here in our own factory. The warehouse is here, sales department, management, even the warehouse. So everything that you can find in AEQ, every single product that we offer to you is made here in this building that you see in the picture on the right side. Okay, let's move forward. As you can see here, these are, for example, on the just a couple of pictures. On the right, you can see some of the customers working with our devices and intercom solution. A mixing console up on the right, wireless bell bag in the cameraman in the studio, and some commentary units. And so on the left, you have some colleagues from AEQ working in the warehouse, in the R+D, or in the technical office. Okay, so let's start with the most interesting part of the webinar regarding the items, the elements of the system. Okay, what we're gonna see today, what we're gonna show you today. First, we're gonna speak about obviously the rack mount panel, the one you see on the picture. Okay, just in front of you. After that, we will go through the desktop panel, which is quite similar. The only difference is, physical design. Okay, the third item was going to be the wired bell pack. For this XPEAK solution, we are offering a wired bell pack. Okay, after that, we will speak about the Explorer, the wireless bell pack, which is also available for this solution. Probably many of you already working or you know about the Explorer. Is our wireless bell pack for Connexia and CrossNet intercom solutions, but now it's also available for this XPEAK intercom system. Okay. After that, we will go through the X Virtual PC software. Okay. And the last but not the least, this one is very interesting. It's quite useful also. It's going to be the interface, the audio inputs and outputs interface. So as you know, for the system, we are providing several connections with this interface by Dante, USB, and analog. But anyway, Roberto will explain you all the details and will go through all the features. Okay, so I will pass the lead to you, Roberto. So probably you will start with the rack mounted panel, right?
Okay, Sergey, thank you very much for that introduction to the system and the company. And well, now we are going to speak about the different devices in that XPEAK system. Well, we start with the rack mount user panel. As you can see, it's a 1 unit rack mount panel. Very interesting for the size. Well, we have, of course, a gooseneck microphone and speaker, like each of the panels. Well, and in that case, we added a USB connector for headset. In that case, well, we want to open the market of headset to our users for use. Any other kind of headset, like a headset for PC or other applications to use in that panels. And for us, I think it's well, we think that it could be important for users. Well, here in the front panel, we have the different keys and displays to control the panel and, of course, the system. Well, in that case, we pass from keys, for 8 keys, to 8 levers. In that panel, use levers, not keys. Well, that levers has 4 kind of movements. We can go up and go down to execute different commands. We can see now what kind of commands, etc. And we can go to the left and to the right to increase or decrease the volume of that cross point. Well, here in the displays, we have the programming of each lever. It's programming the cross point or the destination of that command. We have the label to indicate a name, etc. of that command, and a marker around that label indicating the signaling, color signaling of intercom, like in a system with matrix. Maybe that the command is executed, or maybe if we have audio incoming or outgoing, etc. The different color commands. Well, this is associated to one lever, and we can execute the different possibilities using that lever. Well, what kind of possibilities? But for example, we can program to have a push to talk when we go down in the lever, and we have a latch when we go up. We have the both push to talk and latch, depends on if we move that lever to go to down or up. Or maybe we can configure any of the commands like talk if we go down, and listen to that destination if we go up in the lever. And of course, for that command, we increase or decrease the volume, moving to right to left, that lever. This is very interesting. Well, next to each lever, we have an LED indicator, a color light indicator. Well, that indicates the family of that lever, of that key. We have several families with different colors, and the keys can belong to a family. And well, only just an overview, taking a view, we know if that lever belongs to a family like cameramen or exterior people, or maybe production, etc. And it's very interesting, well, to have a better workflow, very intuitive for a user. I think it's very user-friendly in that case. Well, and of course, in the front panel, we have a key for menu and page. Well, menu, of course, we enter to the different configuration menu, etc., different to configure different parameters of the panel. And page allow us to have up to 16 levers, 16 keys virtually, because we have physically eight levers, and using the 2 pages the panel it has, but we can switch between the both pages. And of course, we have here an encoder to increase or decrease the general volume of the panel. That case, not only the cross point is for the general panel, and we can move to the around the different menus, etc., and the different parameters. Well, this is in the front of the panel. In the rear of the panel, we have the internal power supply. Of course, all the system, all XPEAK system is a system based in IP. It's a connection over Ethernet networks or over internet. Due to that, we have an Ethernet connections, RJ45. In that case, we have 2 interfaces. Well, we also have an USB connector in the rear part. This connector is to connect to a PC, and in the PC recognizes that USB like a virtual sound card, but sound card, and we can insert or extract audio from to the PC. We can interchange audio between the PC and the panel. Well, but maybe if we are working, if we have a workstation in that PC, maybe for video editing, or maybe audio workstation, we can send the audio, or maybe for remote production, or maybe Skype connection, we can send audio and receive audio from to the panel and the PC. It's very interesting application in that case. Well, we have a Bluetooth interface inside the panel that will allow us to connect maybe a smartphone. And in that case, well, to send audio or receive audio from the smart panel, but sorry, from the smart panel to the smartphone, in that case, the panel to the smartphone. But maybe we can call to someone that it's in other place and can insert that audio directly to the system or to the panel, and vice versa. Can send the audio in the both direction, of course. Well, and the last one interface is an GPI GPO. We have two GPI, two general purpose input and two general purpose outputs for interact for the rest of the world. We can maybe have to switch on a light or to switch on a device, or vice versa. One device can send us a signaling to make a cross point, etc. Well, and for the last of that panel, I remember that it has DSP, have audio processing, and it has an echo cancelling for high quality in the audio. You can see it's a very complete panel, and the levels, well, but it's a very interesting feature. Well, we move to the desktop panel, and in that case, desktop panel has the same characteristic, the same features and behavior of the rack mount panel, but the different location of all of the speaker, the microphone, etc. But it's exactly the same. Well, I switch my camera to show you physically the panel, and I stop the presentation. You can see better that panel. This is the desktop panel. As you can see, the front is with an angle to have a better, to be useful, to have better workflow with it. Here we have the microphone for the gooseneck microphone, the speaker, USB connector for headsets, and here, well, the menu key and page to switch among the different pages, and encoder. And here, of course, the levers. Here we have the displays with the label of that of the commands, the cross point or commands we want to execute, and a marker with the intercom signaling, the color signaling. Well, when we move a lever, I go up the level, we can see we have a command to talk from one panel to the other. Well, and next to the lever, we have here the family color indicator to know that how many switches belongs to the families. Well, of course, we can execute different commands, go up and down, and when we go left and go right, we increase, decrease the volume. As you can see, it's a very complete panel.
Roberto, hello again. Listen, I have a couple of questions regarding the desktop panel. Which are the sizes of it?
Well, the size here, you can see in my hand, well, it's 21 centimeters width and around 11 centimeters high.
Nice. Okay, and another question. I see that if I would like to, I am able to make it flash mount, right?
Yes, because the front of the panel, it's a bit high than the rest of the panel, and we can put inside the table or maybe in furniture, etc. Well, for user-friendly for the different users.
Nice, thanks.
Well, we go back to the presentations, and now we pass to the wired bell pack. Of course, we present a new wired bell pack. We also have the wireless bell pack, the Explorer that Sergey said about. But now we present a wired bell pack because many of customers ask about a wired bell pack, and we think it's important to have in that system. It's very similar to Explorer because we are based on it. And in that case, we use keys, 4 keys to commands that the behavior is exactly the same in the panels that we talk in the panels, but in that case, we don't put levers because you can execute it accidentally. Well, we have, as I said, 4 keys for the commands and 2 keys for menu and pages. This belt pack has also 2 pages, and we have up to 8 virtual keys. Well, we have the same. Here we have the command with a label and a marker with the indicator about the intercom colors. Command execute if we have audio incoming or going. It's the signaling of intercom. And of course, close to the key, we have the family indicator to know that the belongs of that key. Well, in the rear part here, so in the bottom part, we have encoders. Encoders is in the front, but we can see from the bottom of the belt pack that the encoders allow us to increase, decrease the general volume of the belt pack and the first key volume to modify the both. Of course, we can move around the different configuration menus, etc. when we use the menu key. Well, I said about that keys, but that 2 keys, the menu and page, has 2 functions in the same key because we have a short press and long press. Short press is menu in one key and page in the other one. But if we have if we take a long press, we can lock the menu or the keys in that case and mute the microphone, etc. We can program that parameters. Well, go back to the bottom of the belt pack, and here we have the USB connector. USB connector, of course, for headset, the same connector that we explained in the panels. And inside, we also have a Bluetooth interface. Well, and here we can see, well, the Ethernet connector for, well, to connect to the rest of the system, to connect to a switch, etc. Well, using that, that interface, we have the data, the commands, and the power. In that case, we need to connect the belt pack using, or maybe a switch with a PoE, power over Ethernet, or insert between the switch and the belt pack a PoE injector. Well, and of course, for the last one, we have GPO. In that case, we have an interface for GPO that allow us maybe to indicate using a light like a tally in case we use that belt pack for cameramen. But well, in other example, we can use that belt pack for industry, and we connect an alarm light using maybe LED and stick on the front of the belt pack, and we'll have there an alarm. And the same of the panels, it has an audio processor with echo cancellation to have high quality in the belt pack. Well, I go back, stop my presentation to show you better the camera. Well, here, the belt pack, as I said, well, when we press a key, we execute the different commands, etc. You can see here the interactions, and then the 4 keys, 2 pages, and well, yeah, we have the both encoders, and in that part, the USB connector and Ethernet connector. And of course, the GPI, sorry, for my finger, the GPO, sorry, the GPO general purpose output. Well.
Question about the belt pack, Roberto. As I saw, as I just saw in the presentation and in the picture there, regarding the RG45 interface, I can see that we have an engaging clip. That means if I would like to make a special cabling with special anchor, I can do it, right?
Yes, let me go back to the presentation and we can see here better. Well, here we have the RG45 connector, And it's a standard connector, but it has a secure log connector too. We can use the both, the standard connection, a standard Ethernet cable, and that secure log connector. It's like an XLR. And well, maybe in case someone put the foot over the cable and you move the belt pack, but it's secure for that.
Great, great. That's going to be quite useful for many customers. Another question regarding the headset. As I see, we have an interface USB, as you mentioned, but I'm able to use the Bluetooth connection for the headset here also for the belt pack.
Yes, of course. You can use, in one hand, you can use the USB standard connector for the headset, as I said, and you can use Bluetooth interface using a Bluetooth headset. And well, in that case, you have a wireless headsets.
Sort of, yeah, that's going to be quite useful, especially, for example, I don't know, in a theater when, in many cases, the belt pack is used like a desktop panel. So the guy who is working with that, he will be able to, I don't know, move around if he needs, obviously, and he doesn't need to take the belt pack with him. He can move around and use the connectivity in the Bluetooth or the headset. That's pretty good.
Yes, in that case, of course, depends on the range of that Bluetooth headset.
Yes, I understand. Okay, listen, I thought that maybe you can have a short rest, okay? And I can go through the next item, okay, of next element, which is the Explorer, because as you know, I explained it in several webinars, so I think I will be able to do it good by myself. But if I will miss something, please help me with that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so regarding the Explorer, most of you probably know the Explorer is our wireless belt pack, the solution that we offer in the CrossNet and Connexia Intercom systems, and now it's available for the XPEAK. Okay, basically, as you can see, talking about the physical part of it, as you can see, the display and the design is quite similar to the wired belt pack. You see. You have, in the same way, you have two general keys, one for the menu, another one for the paging. On the upside, keys number 1, 2, 3, 4 with the different numbers, with the figures, in order to address communication to the sets and destinations of that, for example, of that 4 users and that first page. Okay, and the same way on the back side, you have 2 encoders, general volume and to move around the menu. And also on the back side, you have, obviously you don't have the USB connection, you have the mini XLR connection for the headset, and of course you will not find the G45. You're gonna find just the key for turn off and turn on the device, okay, because it's, once again, it's wireless. So the information that you have from the display, as you can see, you have the different users of that certain page, okay. And on the downside, you can see, well, you can see the coverage of the belt pack in that certain position. Okay, you can see if the option mute is turned off or turned on. And also you can see the capacity of the battery. Okay, regarding the battery, it lasts around 20 hours, 20 hours working. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and the charging time takes from 3.5 hours up to, it's between 3 hours 30 minutes, 3 hours 45 minutes, something like that, in order to get the 100% capacity of the battery. Okay, how it works? Wi-Fi based, 5G. Okay, so normally we deliver the entire system: the intercoms, panels, the Explorer, the headsets, the charging base station, and also the access points. Okay, but in many cases, the customer has already his own Wi-Fi network, and if the customer doesn't want to build another network, especially for the belt packs, and the Wi-Fi network is reliable, so they just need to integrate the belt pack in that system. That's possible. So we just need to make a small pre-configuration here in AEQ, and we will deliver the belt pack. So we have, Roberto knows that quite good. So we have delivered Intercom solutions with Explorer, and it was integrated in the Wi-Fi network of the customer quite good and got quite successfully. Okay, Roberto, I think I didn't forget anything, but if I did, please, would you be able to help me?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, it's okay. Thank you very much. And well, only to say that all the devices, the desktop rack mount panel, the weighted belt pack, and wireless belt pack explorer has only 2 pages when are working in an XPEAK system. But in case we connect them to a system with matrix, we have 4 pages. This is the difference.
That's right. That's right. Thanks. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much. Well, we continue with the device, in that case, the virtual XPEAK. In that case, it's an application. It's a software PC application, well, for Windows. And we also have 8 keys, levels, and we have the same behavior than the panel. In that case, it's very similar to a desktop panel, but we have the same configuration and the same behavior. In that case, well, it's for people that want to integrate that application maybe in a workstation because it's video editing or an audio workstation, etc., or for remote productions. Well, we can put that application with the rest of the application they want. It depends on the user. Of course, for us, it's very useful a physical panel, but depends on the use, depends on the client. They maybe want or select that kind of interface, that kind of virtual application for the system. Well, and last but not the least, Sergey, we have the interface of XPEAK. Well, this device is to have a connections to interact for the rest of the world. Well, we have a system with XPEAK for different panels, belt pack, etc. But if we want to connect to the rest of the world, we use that interface. That interface has 4 audio channels, and we select among the different inputs and outputs. Well, we have 4 analog interfaces using XLR connectors for input, for output. We also have 4 USB interfaces, the same that we talk about in the panels, in the rear of the panels. In that case, we connect to the PC, and it recognizes by a virtual sound card or a sound card, and we send 1 channel per connector. And well, of course, we also have that Ethernet interface to connect to the rest of the equipment of XPEAK, and to have 4 audio over IP channels in Dante or AES67. This is very important because we can interact now for the rest of the world in IP connections. Well, we also have to have an interaction to other equipments for general purpose input and for general purpose outputs. Well, in that case, we can use that DPI and DPOs to have signaling, to simulate a signaling among different devices, the devices on or the system with XPEAK, and maybe audio matrix, audio mixes, any other kind of intercom system, etc. Well, or maybe if we want to have a walkie-talkie connection in XPEAK, well, we can use the analog interface to connect the audio from the interface to XPEAK interface to the walkie-talkie base station, and using that DPI DPO, we have a signaling to talk, etc. It's very useful. Of course, we can use Dante connection or AES67 to connection to the PCs or other kind of devices, audio matrix, etc. As I said, that, well, we have a direct interaction. It's very, very useful in that case. And of course, in the front of the panel, well, we have a menu key, etc., to configure using that display to configure different parameters.
That's a quite useful device actually, because many customers with the first thing they're going to ask is, well, how can I integrate, I don't know, analog channels or audio channels or Dante channels? And now it's with this device, it's that part, that request will be solved, right?
Yes, this interface is very interesting in that case.
Oh yes. Okay, listen, Roberto. Okay, yes. So to make it understand a little bit more better for me and for the guests of the webinar, so far I see it's really interesting system with new devices, with new features. But we talk about here of just a system, just let's say a new party line solution, or we have more features. We have something more interesting to show about it.
Yes, of course, this is not only a basic intercom system or a party line, it's more than that kind of system, of course. Well, this is a very interesting system because they have a lot of features that can, well, for user, be user-friendly and very interesting. One of them is the smart connection. Well, all devices connected in a local area network or maybe in an external connection. That case, that connections are using a virtual network. It's transparent for the user. And well, we can interact all the panels. We auto-discover all the panels subscribed to the same virtual network and auto-programming. The same in local than in case we connect in a remote location. Well, all devices are auto-discovered with the only thing to have or to be in the same local area network or using internet and auto-programming. Well, this is a very interesting feature. Well, of course, well, it's a medium-sized system with up to 28 devices or audio interfaces. We can use or up to only 28 devices, or in case we can add it in that 28 users, the interfaces. It's a site we think it's very interesting for users. Well, this is one of the most important features of the system. And it's that the system works like a full cross-point mode, but without matrix. All the system, all the panels, the devices are working peer-to-peer. It's like a peer-to-peer connections among the different devices, and we can have directly cross-point or point-to-point cross-point among the different panels, and we have signaling among that communications, but all that things without matrix. This is one of the most important advantages. Well, even so, we have the possibility to have a party line configuration, maybe for a user that they want a very basic system and very easy to use, but well, you can configure, or you can have the possibility to configure the system like a party line mode. And of course, we have a high quality audio, HD audio using G722 quality. As you can see, it's, well, we have a very interesting system in that case. I think you like it. Well, here we have a basic configuration in local area network. When, as I said, it's an IP connection, an IP system. Well, we have in the center, in the core of the system, a switch or some switches, depends on the size of the system, of course. Well, for that switch, we connect the different panels, rack mount panels, desktop panels, of course, virtual panels connected directly the PC to that switch. And well, we can add a wired belt pack. In that case, a switch we need to have, or maybe a power over Ethernet directly, or insert a power over Ethernet injector for each wired belt pack. Well, and in case of Explorer, that work at the same equipment in that system, well, the connection is over Wi-Fi. It's a Wi-Fi connection, and that belt packs need an access point. Different access point depends on the area we want to cover. And in that case, well, the power supply usually in access point is over power over Ethernet, and we have the same that we said for wired belt pack. And of course, for last but not the least, again, we said that we have the interface to have connection to the rest of the world. As you can see, it's a very easy system.
Looks really, really interesting, Roberto. Question, so basically, I have all the advantages of an intercom system with a matrix, but without the physical one, that's for sure. But the best part is I will cable it just like a party line.
Yes, the cabling, it's like a party line, but without matrix. Connection over the switch, and just you don't need anything more. Great. It's very easy.
Cheers, cheers, thank you.
Well, and now we are talking about the connections, well, of the system, and several examples when we use that virtual network, as I said a few minutes ago. Well, the system, it's using that virtual network. It's transparent for user. And well, we have a security in the connections because we use IPsec and Open SSL, and we have encrypted communication. And we have a very secure connections. Well, this is an example of a system for a television when we have central studios, etc. When we have several people working with panels, rack, desktop, or maybe virtual, and well, they want to communicate to external people that maybe it's in a stadium, in sport event, or maybe in a concert, etc. With maybe panels, maybe belt packs. We also have maybe on remote production, etc. Well, this is in this area, and of course, now it's very usual to have people working at home, maybe with panels, etc., with virtual panels, etc. Well, but the system, it's very easy because we only need an internet connection, only need that things. And for users, all the connections are completely transparent. Well, we have communication, as I said, like peer-to-peer. The connection is over peer-to-peer, and we don't need a fixed IP or dynamic DNS or port forward, etc. We only need an intercom connection, and all devices, or the belt packs, panels, interface, etc. Subscribe it to one virtual network, communicate, recognize, auto-discover all the devices to each other, and communicate all the devices to each other. Well, we passed the thing we have until now. This is the usual system with matrix, where the same behavior, the same system, we need to configure virtual private networks. Well, in that case, we need a router to configure different routers, of course, at home or maybe in events without time. Well, here we need an IT staff, people to configure it in case we have any kind of problems it's difficult to solve. you can see it's a very difficult system in that case. And well, 5 minutes before the on air, we have a problem. We don't have a connection, and it's very difficult to solve. In our case, we pass again to now our XPEAK system. We don't need that things. We don't need IT staff, IT people configuring routers, etc. We only need an internet connections and all devices connected to a virtual private network. We are connected all together. It's, as I said, very easy to use. I think it's very interesting system. You like it.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Yes, indeed. I see it's quite easy to use, but let's put an example. Okay, so I can understand it clearly, and our guests of the webinar also. So imagine yourself, I have a, I don't know, Obi-Wan or TV studio, a small one, and I have, let's say, a system with 5 panels, okay? I take one, take off to the system, plug off, okay, and take it with me. I get in a, I don't know, a plane, an aircraft, I go to another city in another country, okay, from Spain to Paris, I don't know, from Madrid to Paris, for example, okay? I go inside a hotel, go inside a hotel room, for example, okay? I connect my panel that I took with me to, well, obviously to the power supply, and also I connect it to the Ethernet, which is connected to a router with internet. Okay, what happens then?
Well, but that happened that it's the same behavior, the same connection that it's in the local area connections. We can communicate all together, and we don't need any other things to configure or to do. You only need to have an internet connection, and you have connection to the rest of the equipment. You can move a panel around the world and you don't have any kind of problem. Of course, it depends on the distance and depends on the network. The different networks you use, you have a high latency, but in local area network. But the connection, it's in general low latency and very easy to use and to move. Very important for remote productions in that case.
That's nice. Yes, I was just imagining that scenario. That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, but as I said, in that case, in case we want to increase the number of equipment in our system, is very easy, because we only think to have that as subscription to a virtual network, and it's transparent for user, and we can connect that device in any place in anywhere in the world. It's very easy to increase the system. Well, as I said, connection, it's peer-to-peer. We have point-to-point connection. Some of the different devices is like a system with matrix, but in that case, without matrix. We simplify the system, but with the same behavior that a system with matrix. Very, very interesting. Well, even so, we have the possibility to configure a system as a party line, well, for user customers that they want a very easy to configure and to use system. We have the both possibilities. Well, we have different interfaces for headset and headphone. We have Bluetooth and USB, where we can connect, in case of the panels, a USB headset directly in the front of the panel. And using Bluetooth, we can connect Bluetooth headsets to have more possibilities to work with our equipments. Well, and the bandwidth or our equipment, it's very low. We have a very low bit rate and a very low latency in our equipments in that case.
Roberto, sorry, once again, regarding the bit rate, which one is it? Well, what's the precise bit rate that we have here?
Well, bit rate, it's 64 kilobits per second only, and using G722. We remember it's HD audio.
Okay, so 64, and we have G722, so HD voice.
Yes. Yes, and of course with low latency.
Nice.
Well, we have two topology possibilities to interconnect different devices. Of course, the usual connection is using a switch, like a star topology, but we have the possibility to connect using the both connection using a daisy chain topology. Well, for have more possibilities. Maybe, for example, we have a system where we want to add a new panel, but it's difficult to pass a cable from the switch to that panel because we can pass to a technical floor, etc. Well, but we only need to connect in daisy chain for one of the panels, for the existing panels, and just we have the system. It's very easy. And the last, one of the last advantages is that this equipment of XPEAK, of course, works without matrix in case we have an XPEAK system, XPEAK intercom system, of course, but that devices, the XPEAK devices can connect to a matrix. Cross-net matrix is a one rank unit matrix with up to 200 by 200 cross point, and of course our Connexia with X core that we have up to 1000 by 1000 cross point. And well, this is all the advantage of that system. You can see it's very interesting. And well, for using examples here, we can see, well, but of course, it's oriented for TV productions, for TV studios. When we think in intercom system, we think in television, of course, but for OE bands, maybe for remote production, etc. It's very interesting for that field. But we have a lot of possibilities to integrate that system on, and well, depends on the customer's needs. In that case, we can pass or move to industry applications like power plants, etc. Very interesting for QSs and SIPs, communications in departments, sorry. Of course, for gaming championships, casinos, bingos at home. Well, to communication about a different home or in residential area connections. Of course, live events like concerts, etc. Theaters. Sergey knows that because we have a lot of projects in theaters, theme parks, etc. You get, yes. You can see that there are a lot of applications uses for that system. I think it's very interesting in that case. Well, now we move to let me move because I cannot have a problem with the software. Let me check because I'm going to share again my desktop. Well, because I show you the software. Well, here we have. One second, we have a problem with Zoom. It's usual, like 5 minutes before the the on air. Well, let me check because I cannot switch my presentation. I don't know what happened in that case. Well, it's the things of the direct. Well, I pass again, well, to the speak, and I try to open I'm trying to open again the software configuration, but I can show you the web page of XPEAK. You can find it in the AEQ web page, and here we can find information about the different equipments, the interface, of course, panels, etc. different uses, and well, we'll be happy to provide you any kind of information about the system or your application, etc. Well, and you can find, as I think, in using the AEQ webpage and pass to that XPEAK webpage. Well, let me go to again. I try. Sorry. To start it again, because I cannot switch off my presentation. Well, now I have it. Yes. Well, let me go and show you now my screen. I think you can see here. Well, this is the software. And here we have, well, the different parameters of that software, different parts. Here we have the different devices in the same virtual network. As I said, all devices in the virtual network are automatically recognized and automatically configured. You have configured the keys automatically when we connect a new panel. And of course, we can use that software to have more complex well, behavior of the system, more complex configurations. Well, here we have the devices. That devices connected are devices that are not connected, different groups we can group devices in group to manage them. And here in that part, we have the families. The families is the lights we have here. We can see here the colors. Well, we can put different levels, different keys, and that keys belongs to a family. And as I said, well, with only an overview, we can know that that key for what family belongs to. Well, here we have a schema of the different devices connected and the connections amount in real time about the different devices. And here the configuration, we have the 2 pages to configure. And well, here clicking on the keys on the lever, we have both to up and down. Well, we can configure the different commands: talk, listen, talk and listen. And of course, here, if we want the behavior of that lever, if we want to have a latch mode or a push to talk mode, you can see it's very easy to configure, but we have more possibilities than an auto discover and auto programming of the system. It's more powerful using that software. Well, and now go back to the presentation. And now we passed again to CJ. I think it's waiting. Sorry for that delay in the software.
No, it's okay. I'm really glad you finally made it, because it's an important part of the solution. So it was necessary to show it. So I'm glad that you finally could show.
Yeah. Thank you very much for everyone. I hope you enjoyed with this webinar, and
sure.
it will be useful for you.
Yes, I'm quite sure. Listen, we have a lot of questions. Okay, so let's get through them. Before we get started with the questions, I will remind you, if you join us after the start, when you will go out, okay, when you will close and leave us, please, there's a survey, 30 seconds, just a couple of questions, please answer them. It's going to be really, really useful for us, okay, in order to make the content much more useful and interesting, okay, in the future. So let's go with the questions. Okay, first one, Roberto, this one is for you. I would just run through it, but anyway, there is no name, it's an anonymous one. Okay, so it is possible to have different commands on the lever up and lever in the same lever, I believe we are talking about.
Yes, this is the last thing we talk about, but maybe that question it's before. Well, yes, of course, we can program different commands like talk, listen, or maybe remote one way, remote both ways, to send audio from one interface to other place in each position of the level, up or down. We can different command, and of course we want to have a latch mode or push to talk mode.
That's yes. I remember you showed it to me a couple of days ago, so we have both possibilities. Great. Okay, listen, next one. Also anonymous. We don't have a name for the person who is asking the question. The panels have two network connectors on the backside. Is that daisy chain or for redundancy network connections?
Well, it's for we use only one interface in case we connect using a switch. And in case we want to use daisy chain topology, we use the both, connecting one to each other panel using the second connector. It's not for redundancy.
Okay, so basically one Ethernet connection, second one daisy chain, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, Alison, this one is from Alison. So can I use a special DSL line or the domestic one of my home? Could that be okay in order to connect the panel?
Yes, of course. The connection, as we said, it's only 64 kilobits per second. The bandwidth is very low, and we can use a lot of connection or over internet, maybe DSL, maybe fiber optic, of course, but maybe we can use a modern router, 3G, 4G, etc., and we can use it very useful. You don't have any kind of problem with the bandwidth.
Okay, that's great. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Okay, regarding Mr. Rana is asking us, regarding the rack-mounted panel, what happens with, that's a good one. What happened with built-in speaker if I connect one USB headset?
Well, the connection of the headset using the USB, it's auto-detecting. And when we connect the headset, switch the audio from the panel from a microphone, gooseneck microphone and speaker to the headset.
Great. Okay. Okay. So that will not be a mix up. There will be not mess up.
No, it's automatically switch.
Okay, that's great. Okay, next one. Omar is asking, how many access points do I need to cover my studio of 100 square meters? I will go for this one. Okay, Roberto. Well, basically, as we always used to ask, me and Roberto, especially we work on with this kind of projects with wireless solutions, we need to know what is in the studio. So if it's a free space, if we have some walls or whatever, but normally for 1 square meters, and if we have from 1 to 10 bell packs, I would say, Roberto, 4 antennas will be much more than enough, right?
Oh, no. Less antennas.
Less than that.
Yes, for 100
square meters.
We have only 10 by 10. It's in a square studio. It's around 10 meters by 10 meters. In that case, only with one antenna, I think it's you can work fine. But in case you want to increase the security, etc., or maybe if you have any kind of noise, 2 antennas, 2 access.
Okay, understood. Thank you. That's great. Okay, next one. Paul is asking, I'm using now your CrossNet intercom. That's really good for you, Paul. Happy to hear that. Happy to read that. Okay, how can I add this new XPEAK panels?
Well, but CrossNet Matrix has up to 20 voice over IP interfaces, and we use that interfaces to interconnect that new XPEAK equipments.
Okay, so basically in the CrossNet, I use the 20 voice over IP for my wireless, for remote panels, and for the XPEAK panels, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Anonymous also, so we don't know who is making this question. Does it work over WAN network? If so, which audio format codec are you using?
Well, the connection, of course, work over one connections, over internet, etc. Because the connection we need to have a visibility or over internet or in the same local area network or using a one. But the connection is, well, we use that G722 audio for the audio, and it's a private protocol because using security, as I said, IPsec, and it's encrypted. The connections are encrypted.
Okay, I understand. Great, thank you. Okay, Mr. Lee is asking, the wired bell packs, how does cabling work? Any special connection to matrix or just Cat5 category cable to IP switch? Any special switch for it?
Well, of course, they need a power over Ethernet switch or maybe an injector. And usually we can put maybe Cat5e or Cat6 cables. And we have up to 100 meters length of that cable. And we can connect, of course, in XPEAK system, or maybe if we want to connect that devices to a matrix, but it's the same.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, next one. Next one is from Johan. Johan is asking, can I use same Explorer unit work in a system with central matrix and then move to a party line? What I have to modify if I switch from central matrix system to a party line? Do I need to change something in hardware or software?
Yes, of course, we cannot work together with matrix and in a XPEAK system without matrix, but the same bell pack we can switch between the both kind of connections. The same
of the network. The network.
Yes, with the same in the same network, and with the same hardware and of course firmware. We don't need to increase as well. Of course, bell pack, Explorer bell packs that have maybe 1 year, 2 years, etc. We need to upgrade the firmware, of course, to put the XPEAK configuration, but system that we buy now, it's with the both configuration, and
able to work with both.
You don't have problems to connect to one system or another one.
Okay. Okay, next question is from Alex. I believe this is Alex from iOS. Hello, Mike. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us. Alex is asking, where do you configure the cross points in the software, or basically where do you manage those panels? So how I make the cross points?
Using the software? Well, of course, using the software and without software, because we can the panels, the devices has auto discover when if I connect, if I have only one panel connected and I connect a second panel in the same virtual network, well, both panels auto discover to each other, and auto program appears a new key with the other panel, and we talk directly peer-to-peer, or it's a point-to-point connection. And the same if we added a new one, auto discover, and appears a new key. Well, this is the easy way, and of course we have the possibility to use the software, and with the software we have in one menu all the devices in that virtual network, and we can program with talk, listen, and other commands in the levels, maybe in down or up, etc. A talk, listen, amount the different panels. It's very easy to configure.
Okay, so basically, as far as I can see, the software is quite similar to the cross mapper, but maybe how I say it's more even user-friendly, right? More straightforward, and it's easy to use, right? So basically, yes, it's same way to make the configuration, right?
Yes, very similar to cross mapper, but
okay,
adapted
great.
to XPEAK system.
Okay, okay. Oh yeah, more straightforward, let's say. Great. Okay. Tejas or Tejas, I don't know, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, is asking any limit of analog interface connectivity?
Well, we have 28 devices, including interfaces. Well, in case we want to use maybe 8 analog interfaces, we can connect up to 20 devices. This is the limitation.
I understand. So basically,
we want
in
to
terms of,
increase,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, so basically the limitation is the 28 devices. So if I want to have Dante pads, analog pads, panels or wireless panels, it's up to 28, all of them together, right? That's the limitation.
Yes.
Right. Okay, okay, I hope this one, that one was clear. Okay, Manos, if I'm not mistaken, Manos from Ariston, from Greece. How are you doing, Manos? Thank you for joining us. He's asking, no gateway or VPN needed?
No, we only need internet connections, because our technology, we subscribe to that. The devices are subscribed to different virtual networks, and we only need an internet connection, and they discover to each other. We don't need to have a virtual private network and a kind of configuration. It's transparent for users.
Really nice, basically like plug and play, so even you are connected remotely, so it's quite nice. I'm really looking forward to show it in real life, physically to the customers. Okay, next, Giselle, sorry if I don't pronounce it properly, Giselle probably from Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, he's asking, should all devices be on the same subnet?
Sorry, I can't understand you.
Should all the devices be in the same subnet?
Well, of course, in local area network, yes, it's usually in the same subnet. But in case you connect to internet, of course, no, because you only have different local area network in the both ends of the connections. Over internet or over one. In that case, we don't have this connection. The only thing is or stay in the same local area network and stay in or have an internet connection.
I see. Okay, thanks. Okay, I hope Giselle that was clear enough for you. Anyway, you can, all of you can still address all your questions by email to us. Okay, anonymous one. This one, and then we have time for the next one, and let's finish the webinar because it's been quite long so far. But anyway, how does a remote panel find the others?
Well, it's a good question. Well, devices, as I said, devices are subscribed to a virtual network, and well, this connect like a virtual server. This is for the reason, in case we connect over internet, we only think internet connection, we don't need anything more. Well, and it's like a peer-to-peer connection. We have a server with control or manage that connections. But for user it's transparent, completely transparent, and each panel has the information about that virtual network, and well, send that information to the server, and server knows how many panels are and send that information to peer-to-peer.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we still have some time for just 2 questions. Alex, okay, Alex is asking, is panels inside same LAN network? Can you work without internet connections?
Yes, of course. There are no problem to internet connection. Of course, it's need when we want to communicate to other devices
remotely located.
Of course. But in case in local area network, we don't need to have internet connection.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Last one. Last one is also anonymous. I don't see the name of the person. Okay, last one is regarding CrossNet. It is needed to be updated for work with XPEAK panels, I believe is the question. Make some upgrade to the CrossNet? Yes.
We usually upgrade the firmware of the CrossNet. Directly, it's possible without a firmware upgrade, but it's better to have a firmware upgrade and you recognize and use the cross mapper with the last version, and you have the XPEAK panels to identify it and etc. But it's possible without upgrading. But we recommend you to upgrade the firmware of the CrossNet and to upgrade the cross mapper software.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, listen, I believe it was more than enough, okay, for today. So we still have some questions. We promise to you we will address you by email and send you the answers, okay? Thank you once again, all of you, for joining us. It's been really interesting, and we had a lot of questions. So I believe it was useful and interesting for you. Roberto, thank you. Thank you, mate, for joining us today, because it's been really interesting and really useful. So I believe that's all for today. Hope to see you again, okay, in our next webinar, and see you in the NAP. It's in our next show, so
yes.
See you then.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone, and I hope you enjoy it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.